Already, are we live? Are we live again? I don't know. I don't know what happened, but my Wi-Fi got absolutely decimated. Um, so we're back. We're live and we are online again. I forget exactly where I was. In what I was saying. But one moment here because I gotta get something set up. Give me one moment, guys. And I do apologize for the lost connection because I know I was like kind of in the middle of something and I can't exactly just like go and stitch the streams together. It's whatever. We'll figure out how to handle it. But I'll put it in post. I'm not gonna do it live. I'm not Bill O'Reilly. Let's just roll with it.
Brokenness and fallenness, and to pray for relief from this sin that is besieging us throughout the land. This is the second mass shooting in 10 days, and it's untenable what we have here. And it's again, politics.
Well, we do more or less have mass shootings every 2 days, but as far as like what we see in the news, yeah,
is an appropriate response, but this is something much deeper. There's a moral rot going on that we all need to dig in and try to address.
Thank you. Panel, stand by if you would.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
Absolutely. All right, let's see some of the officials reacted.
Thank you.
Couldn't find this on C-SPAN, so it's not going to be for unfettered words.
What an incredible room. Tonight's a rough night. We planned for a great celebration, but I'm sure most of you have heard the tragic news about
I was ready for a big celebration too. I was about to look into some midterm results, man.
what has happened in Texas. So I had prepared comments about tonight, which I will speak, but I just first want to begin by saying a few words about the tragedy that occurred today.
When I heard she seemed very presidential
in
here.
Uvalde, Texas. So while we don't know all the details yet, we do know that there are parents who have lost children, families that have lost children, and their loved ones, of course, and many others who may have been injured. So I would normally say in a moment like this, we would all say naturally that our hearts break, but our hearts keep getting broken. I think there's so many elected leaders in this room. You know what I'm talking about. Every time a tragedy like this happens, our hearts break. And our broken hearts are nothing compared to the broken hearts of those families. And yet,
I feel like too much of this is all like, oh, look, we're sad. We're sad. We are sad. And not enough of it is like, you know what? This shooting was pretty bad, wasn't it? This was a bad shooting. It was bad. Things like this shouldn't happen in this country. We shouldn't have shootings. Shootings are awful. Shootings suck. They kill people. And killing people is bad. That sort of messaging I feel like would have been a lot better than like, we're sad. We know we're sad. We were sad before. And we're sad again. And we know that other people are sad. And they were sad before. Like, nah, man. This thing isn't all about like feelings. This is about the fact that something really bad happened and we need to address it.
yet it keeps happening.
I am nitpicking.
So
But
I think we all know and have said many times with each other, enough is enough. Enough is enough. As a nation, we have to have the courage to take action.
what action?
and understand the nexus between what makes for reasonable and sensible public policy to ensure something like this never happens.
That nexus is something we're still
again.
trying to understand. We haven't
To the
exactly
people
captured.
of Uvalde, please know that this
Hold
is
on. Do you really think that there are people who are out here like, man, you know what? I'm fine with all these people getting killed. Nobody is talking like that. None of these politicians are having that attitude. What this is about is either A, not knowing what the heck is going to fix this problem, or B, too sharp and polarized disagreements on the issue for any change to happen. It's not an issue of politicians not caring. Because, hey, the reality is, politicians don't care about you. I've talked about this on stream before. Politicians don't care about you, but they do want you alive enough to vote for them again. So it is in these politicians' best interest to care about these things. And I think that they do care about things that actually cause imminent death.
a room full of leaders who grieve with you. And we are praying for you, and we stand with you. And it is difficult at a time like this to think about much else, but I do look around this room. And
That's true. I don't even know if I'm going to get the midterm
I
coverage,
know this is
honestly.
a room full of American leaders who know and have the courage to take a stand.
First, I want to tell you that what happened
The lip syncing, it's completely off.
horrific tragedy that cannot be tolerated in the state of Texas. And
Why does
there
this
is
sound so
action being taken by,
unbalanced?
local law
Hold
enforcement.
on, can I set this on mono? Are you guys hearing this too?
First, I want to tell you that what happened in Uvalde is a horrific tragedy that cannot be tolerated in the state of Texas. And there is swift action being taken by local law enforcement as well as the Texas Department of Public Safety. They obviously now know who the shooter was, and the shooter is no longer alive. Let me give you some details, and then I'll give you a summation
Ooh,
about that.
these details may be
The
interesting. I
shooter
don't think I
was,
know.
Salvador Romas.
Salvador
An
Romas
18-year-old
does not
male
sound
who
like a white
resided in
supremacist.
Uvalde. It's believed that he abandoned his vehicle and entered into the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde with a handgun.
Why?
He may have also had a rifle, but that is not yet confirmed according to my most recent report. He shot and killed horrifically.
Yeah, DJL, I don't blame you.
14 students and killed a teacher. Mr. Romas, the shooter,
It's crazy that the number's almost
himself,
doubled now.
is deceased and is believed that responding officers killed him. It appears that 2 responding officers were struck by rounds but have no serious injuries. The Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District Police Department is the investigating agency, and we will provide them and the city of Uvalde substantial investigative and patrol assistance. We're in the process of obtaining detailed background information on the subject, his motive, the types of weapons.
So we
used,
don't know
legal
things like
authority to
motive yet
possess them,
then.
and conduct a comprehensive crime scene investigation and
February
reconstruction.
19 children.
and identify and interview
It's
all
actually like
witnesses and provide legal
21,
services
I
and other
think.
support as needed. Victor Escalon is the Texas Department of Public Safety South Texas Regional Director. He is on the scene, and everything that can be done will be done. In addition to that, it is
Yeah, no
being
midterm election coverage, boys.
that the subject shot his grandmother
We can do that another time.
before he went into the school. And I have no further information about the connection between those 2 shootings. And the subject is reported to be a student, to have been a student at Uvalde High School, and is a U.S. citizen. Bottom line is this, however, and that is when parents drop their kids off at school, they have every expectation to know that they're going to be able to pick their child up when that school day ends.
Yeah.
And there
Yeah.
are families who are in mourning right now, and the state of Texas is in mourning with
Well,
them.
DJL said, well, a teacher died, so that could be part of the fatalities. Yes, as far as I know, there were I think 21 deaths. No, 21 kids died, and 2 adults. I think, as far as I know.
The reality that these parents
Possibly
are
3.
not going to be able to pick up their children. Our job is multifold. First, to make sure we address exactly what happened at this crime scene, and then second, to make sure we take that information and do everything that is necessary to ensure that crime scenes like this
Fourth grade
are not going
teacher.
to be repeated in the future, and that we're going to be able to ensure the safety and security of our schools. I'll be happy to take any follow-up question about that they may have. That is the information that I have.
Does it sound all off and messed up for you guys?
It's my understanding that 2 officers were shot, but other than the wounds they sustained, they will not be fatal shots. They will be survivors.
I'm glad that like some of those brave officers who went and responded, they didn't get killed. That's good to hear. I was worried.
All right.
Did anyone
Thank
have
you.
to give up their lives for this?
Our coverage continues now. We're reporting on this horrific mass shooting at a Texas elementary school. 14 children dead, 1 teacher, as well as the shooter. The nation reeling from what was the deadliest shooting of the year just 10 days ago in Buffalo,
here's some
however, where a
MSNBC
shooter
coverage.
killed 10 innocent people at a
Brace
grocery
yourselves,
store. That
boys.
suspect citing racist replacement theory as inspiration. Today's rampage at an elementary school is now deadlier. So it supplants what was the deadliest
Deadlier? And not racist.
shooting, because
Just
today,
pointing that out.
15 innocent people gunned down, dead. Now, if you feel like this is happening more, if you see more gun violence around you and think this is getting worse, you're right. The facts show that is true. Active shooter standoffs went up 50% last year. Today's school shooting is the deadliest, but attacks with multiple fatalities are quite common, over 200 so far this year that we're living through. The scene today, all too familiar across the nation, as well as across Texas, which has faced some other very grim days like today. Mass killings in 2019 in the state that killed 7 and then 27 people in a single day.
Oh my
Now,
god.
authorities need more time to fully investigate
was
this
that?
incident, but overall, the data shows easy access to guns makes it easier for criminals to use them for murder rather than self-defense or hunting. Many gun safety laws do not stop all
Wait. What he said made no sense. Hold on.
easy access to guns
Access
makes it
guns. Okay.
easier for criminals
Makes it
to
easier
use
for criminals. Okay. To
them
use
for
them
murder
for murder.
rather than self-defense or hunting.
Is this dude's brain broken? He's saying that if guns are easy to access, then it makes it easier for criminals to use them for crime instead of mass murder, or rather than self-defense. What?
Investigate this
In
incident,
what
but
world does
overall,
that
the
even
data
make
shows
sense? How easily the gun was to access affect whether or not you use it for crime or for self-defense? Nothing of, well, you know what? I got this gun easy, so I'm gonna go kill somebody. No. Who thinks like that?
easy access to guns makes it easier for criminals to use them for murder rather than self-defense or hunting.
This makes no sense.
Many gun safety laws do not stop all gun sales. They don't even try to. What they aim at is to keep guns out of the hands of would-be criminals, for example, through licensing or background checks. But Texas Republicans have pushed to end...
Hey, viewers, I apologize. Sorry. I apologize for this embarrassing display that I'm placing before your eyes.
even those narrow safety rules. It is now, today, easier to get a gun than drive a car in Texas. Last year, a new law from Republicans...
TJ also doesn't know this country. Well, the sad thing about this is this country is still the best one we got, so...
ended licensing, testing, training...
Which is, like, the crazy thing for me is, because, like, watching, like, the country, like, continue to decline, and then also being like, well, what country's better than this one? I don't know. that I think is like one of like the craziest and like eeriest things about our current era.
Or even a local background check.
Lawmakers in Austin passing House Bill 1927, allowing anyone 21 and up who is legally allowed to buy a handgun. No license needed. In Texas, the law eliminates not only the license, but also the written test, training, and state background checks.
Okay, so how did that affect shootings? That's what I want to know. And the shootings are up nationwide. Are they up in Texas? I don't have the time to go into all the research for that now, but I think that's the question you should be asking next after that bit of information. Yeah, how much more stuff do we have? 3.
There are 14 kids dead
Fair amount.
in an elementary school in Texas right now.
Hold on, is this... Okay. Okay.
What are we doing?
Wait a minute.
What are we doing?
Okay.
Why do you spend all this time running for the United States Senate?
I'm sorry.
Why do you go through all the
I don't feel like watching another MSNBC. Here, let's see what Joe Biden had to say.
Good evening.
I know I ordered this. I wonder why I didn't have this earlier.
I'd hoped when I became president, I would not have to do this again. Another massacre.
One thing I will have to say with both, I feel bad that I'm done knocking on this. One thing I need to do is put some compression on this guy's microphone, because he's whispering, because he's like half dead anyways right now, and it's hard to hear what he's saying. But to turn it up, and as you can kind of tell in the audio levels here, they turn it up. But then, what if you start shouting again, like classic Joe and his aviators, who's like actually cool? Then all your ears will be blown out. Now, thankfully, I'm putting compression on the desktop audio, so hopefully you guys will actually be able to hear him better than I can. But it's just like, it's a qualm that I have when people don't put compression on microphones when it's imperative that you know exactly what these people are talking about. Tim Pool on Timcast doesn't have any compression on his microphones, and I find that very annoying. But anyway, sorry. Completely inappropriate stun lock.
Good evening.
I apologize.
Americans. I'd hoped when I became president, I would not have to do this again. Another massacre. Uvalde, Texas.
Uvalde. I have to remember that.
An elementary school. Beautiful, innocent, 2nd, 3rd, 4th graders.
I feel so bad for laughing, but I mean, I'm like, okay. Out of anybody else's mouth, what he said is just fine. But just something about Joe Biden calling elementary school kids beautiful is... No, please, stop. Please. No.
And how many scores of little children who witnessed what happened
I feel bad for making jokes at his
see
arm
their
because
friends die
I know.
as if they're on a battlefield, for God's sake. They'll live with it the rest of their lives. There's a lot we don't know yet. There's a lot we do know. The parents who will never see their child again, never have them jump in bed and cuddle with them. Parents will never be the same. To lose a child is like having a piece of your soul ripped away.
See, whoever wrote this speech did a much better job because you're focusing on the fact that this is a bad thing that happened and people died. she was like, oh, we're sad, we're sad, we're sad. He's tying it directly to, we're sad because we have lost these precious souls who were snuffed out far too soon. I think, you know, this makes him look good. Makes his furs come in here and here.
In your chest, you feel like you're being sucked into it and never going to be able to get out. Suffocating.
We'll say it's a little bit superfluous. But it's funny, I was watching a Ruslan video. No, sorry, I'm not going to get distracted.
It's a feeling shared by the siblings and the grandparents and the family members and the community that's left behind. Scripture says, Jill and I have talked about this in different contexts.
Where in the Bible does it say that Joe Biden and Jill Biden have talked about this in different contexts?
Another context. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. So many crushed spirits.
That's such an awkward term, but I really, like, especially as a Christian, really appreciate him using scripture and trying to sort of like calm and comfort the country, because it's, yeah, there's only so much that you know, the world can do to comfort people in a time like this. But I feel like, you know, using scripture and using God and his word is like probably like the only way you can get any sort of lasting, meaningful solace in a time like this.
I ask the nation to pray for them. Give the parents and siblings the strength in the darkness they feel right now. As a nation, we have to ask, when in God's name are we going to stand up to the gun lobby? When in God's name will we do what we all know in our gut needs to be done?
We don't even know that the gun lobby is to blame for this. We don't agree on what needs to be done. I think things need to be done, right? Some other people think something else needs to be done. There's too much division over what needs to be done for us to just like, oh yeah, let's band together and do action. Well, the way that Congress is set up now, nothing would even get passed if we can't find some common ground. So
3,448 days, 10 years since I stood up at a high school in Connecticut, a grade school in Connecticut, where another gunman massacred 26 people, including 20 first graders at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Since then, there have been over 900 incidents of gunfires reported on school grounds. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Santa Fe High School in Texas. Oxford High School in Michigan. The list goes on, and the list grows when it includes mass shootings at places like movie theaters, houses of worship, as we saw just 10 days ago, the grocery store in Buffalo, New York. I am sick and tired of it. We have to act. And don't tell me we can't have an impact on this carnage.
yeah, I think
spent
something
my
can
career as a senator and a vice president working to pass Congress.
I absolutely hate how distracted, because like anyways, no, I'm gonna stay focused on this. Yeah.
We can and won't prevent every tragedy, but we know they work and have positive impact. When we passed the assault weapons ban, mass shootings went down. When the law expired, mass shootings tripled. The idea that an 18-year-old kid,
you know, because he lies through his teeth a lot, but it you know, it could be true. So
walk into a gun store and buy 2 assault weapons, it's just wrong. What in God's name do you need an assault weapon for except to kill someone?
The assault weapons thing is like, first of all, I don't know like exactly what the designation is for assault rifle. It seems to me that it's very like nebulous and vague. However, an assault rifle can be used for self-defense. And I don't know how effective it is for hunting, because I know only very specific guns are, good to use for hunting, just because of how they, cause injury and damage to an animal. But I don't know of any gun that cannot be used for self-defense. So I don't know that saying banning assault weapons are always going to. Now, if Joe Biden's right here and the assault weapons ban was effective, then what can I say? Maybe it's something we should go to. But I feel like I don't know what it is about the assault weapons that makes it let's say that someone's gonna go out and do a shooting, right? Isn't somebody to be like, you know what? I was gonna kill people, but they banned assault weapons, so I'm not gonna do my shooting today. I don't know if anyone who thinks there's just be I mean, I'll buy a couple of handguns and just people are gonna find ways around that. And banning assault weapons aren't going to, stop. Now, it could make shootings less deadly. That is a possibility. So that would be nice. Come on. Jill said we need the assault weapons ban back. I'd say, if what he's saying is true, probably, yeah. Unfortunately, even though, but I don't know, because it just the fact that logically it doesn't really make sense that it would cause that big of an impact is why I'm doubting his words. DJ says Secretary of hearing this news people dying. Yeah, true. Yeah, and I understand wanting to have the people died, so let's do something now reaction. But at the same time, I feel like it's not the most quick action. This might not be the best if we're not 100% sure that it will be effective. If that makes sense.
Running through the forest with Kevlar vests on, for God's sake. It's just sick. And the gun manufacturers have spent 2 decades aggressively marketing assault weapons, which make them the most and largest profit. For God's sake, we have to have the courage to stand up to the industry. Here's what else I know. Most Americans support common sense laws, common sense gun laws.
Which are what?
I just got off a trip from Asia, meeting with Asian leaders.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And I learned of this while I was on the aircraft. And what struck me on that 17-hour flight, what struck me was these kinds of mass shootings rarely happen anywhere else in the world. Why?
That is interesting. I mean, I don't follow international news, but that actually sounds right.
They have mental health problems. They have domestic disputes in other countries. They have people who are lost.
I will say there are mass killings that still happen. There are countries where they ban guns, and then there are a bunch of just crazy knife rampages. So,
but these kinds of mass shootings never happen with the kind of frequency they happen in America. Why? Why are we willing to live with this carnage? Why do we keep letting this happen? Where in God's name is our backbone?
You're making it seem like, I don't know, you're blaming. I don't think you can ultimately blame the politicians for the actions of the citizens. This is something that these citizens did. I feel like it's like looking at senators after I don't know, Donald Trump wins in 2024 and being like, how could you let this happen? Have a backbone. Because, that's the action that the citizens took. What about the obesity crisis too that we have in America, right? Bunch of fat people running around. A lot of people who are overweight and unhealthy. What are we gonna do? Look at senators and be like, where is your backbone? Now maybe there's some policies that are causing food deserts and that sort of thing that's contributing to these unhealthy lifestyles, or kind of boxing the citizens in to these choices, if you can call them that. But at the same time, you can't blame the politicians, for everything. You can't be like, why haven't you restricted your citizens' freedoms yet? For every single little thing that happens, especially when we don't even know if this was something that could have been caught or stopped, by the legal system.
To have the courage to deal with it and stand up to the lobbies. It's time to turn this pain into action for every parent, for every citizen in this country. We have to make it clear to every elected official in this country. It's time to act. It's time for those
If you're not posting on Twitter, what are you doing?
who obstruct or delay or block the common sense gun laws. We need to let you know that we will not forget. We can do so much more. We have to do more. Our prayer tonight is for those parents
I will say,
lying in bed and trying to figure out.
I will say though, honestly, like one thing I really, really like about this as a Christian is how much he's calling back to faith in Christianity, and even as it's Catholic, so like it's not even, I don't know, but how much he's saying, our prayers tonight, this, God is with the brokenhearted, these sorts of things. It's so cool to have, even if it's nominal, but even doesn't mean it, even if he's just doing it to sound nice. It is cool to have a president who's so visibly, at least citing scripture. That's pretty cool.
Will I be able to sleep again? What do I say to my other children? What happens tomorrow? May God bless the loss of innocent life on this sad day. And may the Lord be near the brokenhearted and save
That turn of
those
phrasing seemed to
crushed in spirit, because they're going to need a lot of help, a lot of our prayers. God love you.
I wonder why I didn't say God bless you. I know God love you is like one of his taglines. That's copyrighted?
It does seem like the span between tragedy coming across the iPhone and partisan response is getting down to mere seconds.
I mean, this is the second time in, I think, 7 days that I've been on your show, both of which have had incredibly heinous and horrific tragedies, yes, immediately followed by naked exploitation of the dead bodies before anything is known about the people involved, including the killer. I was watching Joe Biden. I empathize so much with what Will said that at the beginning of his speech, I was really hoping that he would strike exactly that note as somebody who has twice had to bury a child. He could really empathize with, in a unique way, with how uniquely heinous it is. He could talk about the spirituality of our society and the need to unite on what obviously everyone, no matter what your partisan perspective is, reacts in the same way when seeing this sort of thing. And he spent about 6 seconds doing that and then immediately did a detour to figure out how he could squeeze and exploit this situation for partisan advantage. It was so grotesque and unsurprising, but also really disappointing to watch.
But I will say he's blowing it out of proportion because it really was a small part of the speech. I think it was unfortunately it was the second part, and people are a lot quicker to forget how you started than forget how you ended. But to be fair to my cool man Joe, he was typical defensive, typical divisive, typical levels of defensiveness or divisiveness, because you do expect these things to be exploited for political gain. So,
well, and as God watches, speaking for myself, I would have praised Joe Biden if he had kept to the first part of that speech. I agree with you completely.
Yeah,
Joe
he
Biden
killed
has
the
lost
first
2
part.
children. Not many people can say that. He knows what it feels like. I would listen carefully to him, and I would feel deeply grateful if he used this moment to unite the country. We all are united in our grief as we watch children die. Why not do that?
I mean, I think that the obsession that people who are doing
it just feels weird to immediately be like, we know exactly what we need to do. Let's do action. It feels so weird to say that when the investigation is like barely begun. I don't think we know how this guy got his weapon yet. I don't think that we know, his motives. So many things about this that we don't know. That just feels so strange to immediately be like, I know what we need to do. This, that, da. Like,
politics full time have with seeing the world through this prism of partisan warfare is so consuming that it basically drains their entire soul, so that nothing is left but this kind of immediate need to use every situation, no matter how tragic, to gain some kind of an advantage. And look, Joe Biden is a politician. He's in public policy. There are public policy aspects to events like this, or the one in Buffalo. So if you want to talk about that, that's fine. Wait a little bit of time, not just so the emotions can be processed, but so that just basic facts are known about who this person is, what motivated them, what role guns have in terms of...
Like Greg Abbott, the only person here that I've seen who's actually who's fairly civil, and did a good job of actually having the appropriate amount of talking about the case while also pontificating about how sad and terrible and bad this was. That was Greg Abbott, the person who was speaking like that. And I appreciate that.
Gun control laws or anything else you want to talk about,
they made the speech half as long
at all because they want to
but
exploit
everybody
those
needs to be standing and talking for 7 minutes after this happens.
That they could be using to unite people to instead work them to their own advantage. It's so ghoulish and grotesque to watch.
It really is. People have died, and we owe them the respect of restraint. That's how I feel about all death. And I know you agree. This stuff just drains people's humanity, and it's just awful. Glenn Greenwald, thank you for your description of that.
Thanks, Tucker.
Subscribe to the Fox News YouTube channel to catch our...
No. All right, let's see. Last clip.
When another fucking school shooting inevitably happens and there is an armed resource officer there who doesn't do anything or he gets killed immediately, okay?
What?
Then they're going to turn around and be like, well, there needs to be...
Hold on. Wait, I heard that no officers got killed. Is that not true? Because, I think I did, one of the clips that we watched earlier kind of pointed out that, hey, we got two people injured, but none of our homies died. But, if... I don't know.
When another fucking school shooting inevitably happens and there is an armed resource officer there who doesn't do anything or he gets killed immediately, okay? Then they're going to turn around and be like, well, there needs to be 2 armed resource officers.
True.
Actually, when the 2 armed resource officers don't do anything, they're going to be like, okay, we need...
But here's the thing, though. The more layers that you add, the less likelihood that you get a chance for something's not... Okay, here's an example, okay? We have 3 armed guards, okay? Let's say that this dude was just like, oh, hey, Joe, you want to come back to my house for ice cream later? And he's like, sure, pop, or whatever. He just lets him walk through with the gun. Okay, let's say theoretically that's the case. You have one other guy. He's going to be like, what, dude? No, stop. You need to stop and leave. You're not even in elementary school age. Go back. No. I'm not gonna put it like that, but leave, go away. That could be helpful. But let's say the third case, because then the shooter could go and shoot that one dude and then go on his merry way. Third guy is there to back his guy up. I don't understand what sort of mindset would make you think that, hey, if you put 3 guards in front of a mass shooter instead of just one, you will not make that school safer. How, in what universe does that make sense? Spoiler alert for anyone who's watching this. It doesn't make sense.
Officers. Actually, when the 2 armed resource officers don't do anything, they're going to be like, okay, we need fucking turrets.
and the chatter there right there says, how do we change everything? How do we change? I think it means anything. If both parties are designed to stop meaningful change, it's a good point. We're deadlocked. We're way too deadlocked for quick, swift. Do something, please, to even be acted upon, much less heard.
We need to put up like a machine gun outside of the fucking school, okay? You know,
like that
immediately opens fire on whoever the fuck is coming towards the school. Like, you're never going to solve this problem. You're never going to solve this problem if your perspective on the matter is just flawed from the jump. Like, more guns actually means more likelihood of gun violence, not less, okay? There has never been a situation where more guns have actually made anywhere safer. If that was the fucking case, then America, having the most guns in circulation, okay, out of any fucking country on the planet, would literally be the safest place on.
That's true. And I've heard that argument before, and I think it's like the best argument for restricting, like, for like at least like getting guns like off the streets. I feel like is like it makes the most sense out of most arguments that I've heard. But anyways, sick and tired covering this. This was a lot, and because I'm tired, I want to go to sleep. This was crazy, insane news day, and I only covered half of the big stories that were going on this news cycle. But I did want to make sure that I covered this because I feel like it's like a very, very important part just of like the news and how things are going right now. So I wanted to make sure I covered it and I wanted to make sure that like I kept my viewers informed. I keep my viewers informed because a lot of my viewers are like, you know, they watch my streams where I play Minecraft. They look at me react to YTPs. But, you know, big things like this are happening in the country, too. There's a lot more that's going on than just, like, internet and gamer culture. And it's important to make sure that you're well-rounded enough to be keeping track of all the things that are happening in your own country that you live in. The way I worded that made it sound like everyone should designate themselves as spies. What I'm saying is, it's just good to keep tabs on your elected officials and kind of see what direction the country that you're living in is headed. So, but anyways, kind of like more scuffed, scattered, disorganized, and stomach streamed than usual. But I did want to make sure that I covered this situation. I hope that this is helpful, informative. You got to see a bunch of different perspectives on this, as well as hear mine. So yeah. Well, anyways, this is not a newbie. Saying peace out. I appreciate you guys tuning in and tolerating me talk about carnage and slaughter. Yeah, this is a tough story, tough news day to get through. But yeah, these things do happen, so I do want to be here to cover them. But anyways, thanks y'all for watching. Peace out.